What if I told you there's a European destination that feels like stepping into a real-life fairy tale? Today we're diving into Austria. And trust me, this isn't your typical European vacation spot. We're talking about a country where you can sip coffee in a 300-year-old Viennese cafe in the morning, then be hiking through Alpine meadows that look straight out of The Sound of Music by afternoon. But here's what most travel guides won't tell you about Austria. Sure, everyone knows about Mozart and Vienna's imperial palaces, but what about the hidden wine cellars carved into hillsides in the Wachau Valley? Or those secret hiking trails that lead to mountain huts where locals still serve homemade schnapps? First, we'll hit Vienna, but not the touristy spots everyone else shows you. I'm talking about underground bars in former air raid shelters and the best soccer tort that locals actually eat. Then we're heading to the Alps, where I'll show you how to experience those postcard-perfect mountain views without the crowds. Plus, I've got insider tips on the best mountain huts for authentic Austrian hospitality. And finally, the food scene that'll completely change how you think about Austrian cuisine. We're going way beyond schnitzel, people. But here's my favorite part about Austria. Every single region feels like a completely different country. The wine country vibes of Wachau, the rugged mountain culture of Tyrol, the imperial elegance of Vienna. It's like getting 3 trips in one. So whether you're planning your next big adventure or just dreaming about your future travels, stick around. By the end of this video, you'll have a complete roadmap for experiencing Austria like a local, not a tourist. Picture this. You're standing at the edge of a crystal-clear alpine lake, surrounded by towering peaks that seem to pierce the clouds themselves. The water is so clear you can see straight to the bottom, and the only sounds are gentle lapping waves and maybe a distant church bell echoing across the valley. This is Austria's secret weapon, and it's not what you think. Everyone talks about the Alps, right? But here's what blew my mind when I first visited. These aren't just mountains you look at from a distance. Austrians literally live in these peaks. We're talking about entire communities built into mountainsides, where your morning coffee comes with a view that would cost thousands at a luxury resort anywhere else. But here's where it gets really interesting. The Alps aren't just pretty scenery. They've shaped everything about how Austrians live. The festivals, the food, even the way people talk to each other. I've been to mountain villages where families have been running the same alpine hut for 7 generations, and they'll tell you stories about these peaks that'll give you chills. And then there are the lakes. Oh my God, the lakes. Forget what you know about European lake destinations. We're talking about Wolfgang Sea, where the water is so pristine you can literally drink from it. I'm not exaggerating, locals actually do this. And Neusiedler Sea? It's like stepping into a nature documentary with wildlife you won't see anywhere else in Europe. Here's what really got me though. These aren't just Instagram spots. Austrians use these lakes like their backyard. Summer evenings. Entire families gather for lakeside barbecues. Kids learn to swim in water that's cleaner than most bottled water. The crazy part? Austria has figured out how to preserve all this natural beauty while still making it accessible to travelers. They've mastered sustainable tourism in a way that most countries are still trying to figure out. So whether you're a hardcore hiker or someone who just wants to sit by impossibly beautiful water with a good book, Austria's landscapes deliver in ways that'll completely change your perspective on what a European vacation can be. Okay, real talk, Vienna just broke my brain. I thought I knew what to expect from a European capital, but Vienna? This city is playing by completely different rules. We're talking about a place that's been voted the world's most livable city multiple times, and after spending a week here, I totally get why. But here's what nobody tells you about Vienna. This isn't just another pretty European city with old buildings. Vienna has somehow cracked the code on being simultaneously imperial and effortlessly cool. Like where else can you tour a palace in the morning? Catch world-class opera at night and spend your afternoon in a 300-year-old coffee house that's still serving the exact same cake recipes? Let me paint you a picture. You're standing inside St. Stephen's Cathedral, this absolutely massive Gothic masterpiece that dominates Vienna's skyline. The details are insane. Every stone carving tells a story. But here's the kicker. You can actually climb to the top. And the view? It's like seeing the entire city laid out like a perfectly planned movie set. Then there's this giant Ferris wheel called the Riesenrad, built in 1897 and still spinning today. Sounds touristy, right? Wrong. This thing gives you the view of Vienna. And locals still use it for everything from first dates to marriage proposals. It's like the city's gentle giant watching over everything. But here's my absolute favorite discovery. Vienna's cafe culture isn't just about coffee. It's a whole lifestyle. These aren't Starbucks knockoffs. We're talking about institutions where Mozart might have grabbed his morning coffee. The same families have been running some of these places for generations. And they've perfected the art of making you feel like you have all the time in the world. Picture this. You're sitting in a velvet chair that's probably older than your grandparents, reading a newspaper while savoring sacre torte that's made from a recipe that's literally a state secret. The waiter brings your coffee on a silver tray, and suddenly you understand why Viennese people have mastered the art of taking their time. The crazy part? This isn't just for show. Locals actually live like this. Vienna has figured out how to preserve its imperial grandeur while keeping everything accessible and authentic. Trust me, after visiting Vienna, every other city is going to feel like it's trying too hard. But wait, we haven't even talked about the music yet. Here's something that literally gave me goosebumps. I'm walking through Vienna, and I realize I'm stepping on the same cobblestones where Mozart used to walk to his piano lessons. This city isn't just connected to classical music. It is classical music. We're talking about the place where Mozart, Beethoven, and Strauss didn't just visit. They lived here, composed here, performed here. All right, forget everything you think you know about Austrian ski destinations. I just spent a week in Tyrol, and this place completely shattered my expectations. We're not just talking about another ski resort region. This is where Austrian culture gets real. Picture this. You're carving down pristine powder in the morning, then sitting in a 400-year-old chalet by afternoon, sharing schnapps with a family that's been living in the same valley for 8 generations. But here's what makes Tyrol absolutely incredible. These aren't just pretty wooden houses scattered around for Instagram photos. These traditional chalets, with their hand-carved balconies overflowing with geraniums, are actual homes where real families live. And somehow, Tyrol has managed to build world-class ski infrastructure around these villages without destroying what makes them special. Let me tell you about my morning routine in Tyrol. Wake up in a chalet where the wood still creaks like it has for centuries. Step outside to mountain air so crisp it literally hurts your lungs in the best way possible. 5 minutes later, you're on ultra-modern ski lifts heading up to slopes that make Swiss resorts look amateur. And the skiing? Absolutely unreal. We're talking about the Stubai Glacier, where you can ski 365 days a year on snow so perfect it doesn't seem natural. Then there's Kutai, which somehow manages to be both challenging enough for experts and welcoming enough for families. I watched grandparents and toddlers sharing the same slopes, and everyone was having the time of their lives. But here's my favorite discovery. When the snow melts, Tyrol transforms into something completely different. Those same mountains that were your ski playground become this incredible hiking paradise. I'm talking about trails through meadows so colorful they look like someone spilled a paint box, leading to viewpoints that'll make you question if you're still on Earth. The crazy part? You can literally do both in the same day during shoulder season. Morning hike through wildflower fields, afternoon skiing on glacier snow. Where else in the world can you pull that off? Okay, I need to be honest with you about Salzburg. I walked into the city thinking it was going to be just another Mozart was born here tourist trap. Boy, was I wrong. Salzburg hit me like a perfectly orchestrated symphony. And I'm not just saying that because of the Mozart connection. Picture this. You're standing in a city center that looks like someone took the most beautiful baroque painting ever created and made it 3-dimensional. We're talking about buildings so perfectly preserved that UNESCO literally said, "This entire place is too important to mess with." The Salzburg Cathedral rising up like a golden crown. Hohensalzburg Fortress looming over everything like a medieval guardian. It's like walking through a fairy tale that actually existed. But here's where Salzburg gets really interesting. This isn't just a pretty museum city frozen in time. This place is alive with music in a way that'll give you chills. I'm walking down cobblestone streets, and suddenly I hear a violin echoing off 400-year-old walls. Street musicians aren't just playing random songs. They're performing pieces that Mozart himself might have heard in these exact spots. And speaking of Mozart, forget everything you think you know about composer tourism. Yes, you can visit his birthplace. this tiny yellow house where one of history's greatest geniuses took his first breath. But here's what blew my mind. The entire city still revolves around music the way it did when Mozart was alive. The Salzburg Festival? This is the real deal. We're talking about one of the world's most prestigious music events, where the biggest names in opera and classical music come to perform. But here's the kicker. It's not just some fancy event for rich people. The whole city transforms. Street performers, impromptu concerts, music floating out of every cafe and courtyard. What really got me, though, standing in Mozart's actual house, looking out the window at the same view he saw as a kid, realizing that this musical genius grew up surrounded by this incredible baroque beauty. No wonder his music sounds the way it does. He was literally inspired by perfection every single day. Here's something wild about Innsbruck that nobody talks about. You can literally eat breakfast in a 500-year-old cafe, then be skiing on a glacier 20 minutes later. I'm not exaggerating. Innsbruck is the only city I've ever been to where you're surrounded by 2,000-meter peaks from literally every street corner. But here's what makes this place absolutely insane. Most mountain cities make you choose. Either you get the authentic Alpine culture, or you get the world-class outdoor adventure. Innsbruck said, "Nah, we're doing both," and somehow it actually works. Picture walking through Innsbruck's old town. You're strolling down cobblestone streets lined with these incredible, colorful buildings. We're talking about facades painted in yellows, pinks, and greens that look like a rainbow decided to settle down and become architecture. Then you look up, and bam, massive snow-capped peaks are literally towering over medieval rooftops. The Imperial Palace, mind-blowing. This isn't just another European palace you walk through and forget. This place was the actual power center of the Holy Roman Empire. Emperors made decisions here that shaped European history, and now you can just walk through their living rooms. The Hofkirche next door has these bronze statues that are so detailed, you'll swear they're about to start moving. But here's where Innsbruck gets really crazy. Remember how I said you can ski in 20 minutes? I literally did this. Had coffee in the old town at 9 a.m., was carving powder on Stubai Glacier by 9:30. The cable car system is so efficient, it makes city public transport look slow. And in summer? Different planet entirely. Those same peaks become this incredible hiking playground. We're talking about trails that start right from the city center and lead to Alpine huts, where you can grab a beer with a view that costs thousands at luxury resorts anywhere else. The result? Innsbruck feels like someone took the best parts of a medieval fairy tale city and dropped it into the most dramatic mountain setting on Earth. It's like nature and culture had a competition to see who could be more impressive, and somehow they both won. Trust me, after experiencing Innsbruck, every other mountain destination is going to feel like it's missing something. Okay, confession time, I almost skipped Graz completely. Vienna gets all the attention, Salzburg has the Mozart hype, but Graz? Most people have never even heard of Austria's second largest city. That was my biggest travel mistake almost ever, because Graz turned out to be the coolest city I didn't know I needed to visit. Here's what nobody tells you about Graz. This place is like Vienna's younger, artsy sibling who went to design school and came back with some seriously bold ideas. We're talking about a UNESCO World Heritage old town that somehow coexists with this absolutely wild modern art museum that looks like a giant blue blob landed in the middle of medieval Austria. Picture this scene. You're walking through cobblestone streets past 800-year-old buildings. Then you turn a corner and bam! There's the Kunsthaus Graz. This incredible contemporary art space that locals nicknamed the Friendly Alien. Most cities would never dare put something so modern next to their historic treasures. Graz said, "Hold my beer," and made it work perfectly. But here's where Graz gets really interesting. This isn't just another pretty European city living off its past. The student population here is insane. We're talking about multiple universities pumping fresh energy into every neighborhood. The result? A city that feels alive 24/7. I'm talking about cafes that stay buzzing until midnight, street art that changes faster than you can Instagram it, and festivals that seem to pop up every other weekend. The Graz Clock Tower, this iconic medieval landmark, literally watches over outdoor raves and jazz concerts. Where else does that happen? And the food scene? Absolutely unreal. These university students have created this incredible mix of traditional Austrian cuisine and international flavors. I had the best Asian fusion meal of my European trip in a restaurant run by students, right next to a 500-year-old church. Here's what really got me, though. Graz doesn't feel like it's trying to impress anyone. Vienna knows it's imperial, Salzburg knows it's musical, but Graz is just confidently doing its own thing. It's preserving its incredible history while fearlessly experimenting with the future. The Styrian Autumn Festival, pure magic. Artists from around the world come here to debut cutting-edge performances in venues that have been hosting events since the Renaissance. Austria is a country that captivates the heart and soul, offering a rich tapestry of experiences that celebrate its stunning beauty and vibrant culture. From the majestic peaks of the Alps to the serene lakes and picturesque valleys, Austria's natural landscapes provide a breathtaking backdrop for outdoor adventures year-round. Whether you're skiing down world-class slopes in Tyrol, hiking through the lush trails of the Wachau Valley, or simply enjoying the tranquility of its pristine lakes, the diverse natural beauty of Austria invites exploration and appreciation. In addition to its remarkable landscapes, Austria is a haven for music lovers, deeply rooted in a rich musical heritage that has produced some of the world's greatest composers, including Mozart, Beethoven, and Strauss. Cities like Vienna and Salzburg resonate with the sounds of classical music, offering a plethora of concerts, operas, and festivals that celebrate this artistic legacy. The vibrant cafe culture in cities like Vienna further enhances the experience, providing cozy spaces where visitors can indulge in delicious pastries while soaking in the creative atmosphere. Here's what I realized after exploring every corner of Austria. This isn't just one country, it's like 5 completely different worlds that somehow all speak the same language. Tyrol feels like stepping into a fairy tale mountain kingdom. Graz buzzes with this incredible student energy that makes every street corner feel alive. Innsbruck is where medieval history literally crashes into Alpine adventure. And don't even get me started on how different Vienna feels from Salzburg. It's like they're competing to see who can be more culturally stunning. But here's the crazy part. Each region has managed to stay completely true to its own identity while still feeling authentically Austrian. The festivals in Tyrol celebrate mountain traditions that go back centuries. Graz throws contemporary art festivals in buildings that predate America. It's like watching history and innovation dance together perfectly. And the architecture? Mind-blowing. I've never seen anything like how Austria blends old and new. You'll be admiring a baroque church. Turn around, and there's this stunning modern museum that somehow makes the historical building look even more beautiful. It's architectural poetry. So here's my challenge to you. Don't just visit Austria, experience it. Wander those cobblestone streets in Salzburg until you get completely lost. Sit by the Danube with a glass of Wachau Valley wine and watch the world go by. Take that cable car up to an Alpine hut and share stories with locals who've been living this mountain life for generations. Because here's the truth. Austria isn't just going to show you beautiful places. It's going to change how you think about travel, culture, and what makes a place truly special. Ready for your own Austrian adventure? If this journey inspired you to add Austria to your travel list, smash that subscribe button. We've got so many more incredible destinations coming your way. And definitely hit that like button if you're now as obsessed with Austria as I am.